Okay, we'll start with you this time, Bonnie, and then go to Denise. Is there any level of cooperation that's needed between other offices in Geauga County, or does the Clerk of Court's office pretty much operate by itself, sort of an island?
I think it has been operating by itself. I think we need to create that collaboration between the Geauga County Clerk of Courts and other agencies, because that's where you access those other funds and the other people to staff the offices. By working in collaboration, I mean working on a deal where you actually see where they have funding available to promote training and providing skills to employees and bringing those people in without having to increase the cost of the staffing of those people to the county itself. That money's already there. It's just not being accessed. It's being returned back to the state and federal government year after year. So I feel that, yes, it is working independently right now, but it needs to be working collaboratively with all the other agencies. And the person that goes into that office needs to know and be aware of where all those opportunities are.
And Denise, what would you say about that level of cooperation?
Oh, I think we have a wonderful level of cooperation among the elected officials. Actually, my legal budget is funded by the general fund, so the commissioners have budget hearings. We usually have a request for what our budget needs are, and that usually we fill out our budget probably in the early spring, and then we get usually our budget, what they consider a temporary budget, for the following year in July. So it gives us some time to look over things and see if we have any further needs. Maybe we anticipate something in July that we haven't anticipated in the spring when we prepared our budget. And then in the fall we have budget hearings. So it gives us, every office holder that falls under the general budget, it gives us an opportunity to speak to the commissioners, explain to the commissioners what our needs are, what our future needs are, and if we see anything that we may be anticipating happening, or that we have a wish list. And then the final budget is usually given to us at the end of December to run our office. The auto title office, we have a separate budget that is it's called the CTF budget, and that budget is not funded by the general fund. So that budget, usually I still prepare the budget the same way, but the commissioners usually always okay whatever my requests are. And out of that budget, Bonnie referred to training for employees. I do have a travel fund, and that is usually training for the employees, training for myself, meetings, committee meetings, any meetings that would further the education and promote a good workplace, and to make sure we are keeping up on everything that we need to know for our office, whether it be legislative or any type of process, whether it be legal process or process with the BMV in order to run our title office. I have that fund. As a matter of fact, I sent 2 people last week to our software vendor company for a update on what's going on with our software and to keep current.
Okay, before we take up another topic, we're going to take a short intermission, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
We're talking with Bonnie Cavanaugh, the Democratic challenger for the office of Clerk of Courts in Geauga County, and the Republican incumbent is Denise Kaminski, and we're going to have another topic from Tricia.
You've both made mention of budget processes and ways you think you could get more money. Do you see any ways that money can actually be saved in the clerk's office?
I've always run a tight ship. I personally, being a single parent and not having a lot to work with for a lot of years, I feel like I run my office the same way I ran my personal life for a lot of years prior to being elected. And I run probably the tightest ship possible. We try to save as much money as possible. The commissioners know that if I ask for something and I'm not able to purchase it for a particular reason, that I would always turn it back to the general fund, so that they always have carryovers usually at the end of the year for the following year. And for instance, before we had the space renovated upstairs on the 3rd floor of the courthouse, I was able to I asked for probably 3 years for a microfilm reader printer, not knowing exactly when our renovation project was going to be finished and we would be moving upstairs. I hadn't had the room downstairs on the second floor, and we were crowded and didn't have enough employees. But since the renovation project has taken place, I had the funds, and what was nice about it is the commissioners knew I had no reason to hide the money or spend the money on anything unnecessarily, so they continued to give me that money until we did move upstairs and I was able to purchase the microfilm reader printer, and it all worked out. So, but if there's ever any monies left over, the only thing I ever do purchase at the end of the year, and sometimes if there's something that I need, we try to make sure the employees have comfortable chairs and chairs that aren't broken or whatever. But if there's something that can be repaired until I'm sure that we have enough funds till the end of the year, then I usually wait to buy a piece of equipment or something that maybe isn't a necessity but a want. Mm-hmm. We wait till the end of the year. So we run a pretty tight budget, and at this time, no, there really isn't any way. I've done everything that I know that I can to save money.
I would think that, first of all, prioritizing what really is most important in the office would probably help to reduce the costs, because if you aren't bringing the money into the office, you can't afford to spend it. So obviously collections of funds would have to be higher up on the source. I know that in reviewing the commissioners' meeting minutes, there was over $800,000 that was being written off the books, according to a quote by Denise. And if that's the case, I think we could save a lot just by collecting the money that's really supposed to be there to begin with. Additionally, I think increasing the staff so we can take care of those problems that are costing us more money would be a way to do that. And again, I already explained how I wasn't going to try to increase the costs of the staff. So that would be my first thing I would do to reduce the costs of the operations of the office. Second of all, though, I think I would increase my responsibility as far as how much I research and check into types of things, especially like software programs, before I purchase them. Check with all the other county clerks to see what's compatible before making a purchase that might not be compatible, because I understand that all of the court systems are eventually going to try to be online together through the state of Ohio, and if anything that we're spending money on now is going to be obsolete in 4 or 5 years because of something else, I just think that that's something that we should be having the foresight to go forth and look at how we're spending that money before we spend it. So those would be the things I'd do to change and save.
I'm curious about this money that was written off the books. Is that money that was coming to the county? Maybe you can elaborate on that, Bonnie, and then maybe you can defend that, Denise. I don't know what that's all about.
The statement was it had been on there before the beginning of time. You might want to ask Denise who it was or why that money was all still sitting on the books.
You looked into it, though. You found that.
It was in the meeting minutes, right, of the commissioners' reports.
And there was no further explanation of why it was owed or what it was for?
Actually, one of the commissioners had asked her about that money, because when she was asking to hire 2 more people, they said, well, how about collecting this money? And she said she had to go and check into it, and she wasn't even sure if there was an aging report available to explain the $800,000 that was out in arrears.
Okay, Denise, this must be a matter of record someplace.
Yes.
What is it all about?
We have been started a cost collection program approximately 2.5 years ago, and it was for court costs that are current and also court costs that are owed from a long time ago. Theoretically, all the monies that probably have some of what has been forgiven, some of the monies that Bonnie is referring to, is a backlog from probably